Hey guys, Ron here, and welcome back to another installment of Creating New Pokemon from Fears. In the first video, I turned my own personal phobias into Pokemon, either as a way to understand my fears by triggering those phobias as a form of exposure therapy, or as a way to overcome my fears by turning them into lovable monsters. In the second video, I turned your fears into Pokemon, and in this video I will continue by making Pokemon out of general phobias. But make sure to click on the card at the top right corner to check out the previous fear video if you haven't. The phobia I've been putting off for a long time has been the fear of clowns. It's a pretty common phobia in the West, but the problem is that we already have two clown Pokemon that are relatively creepy. I mean, I personally believe that Blacephalon's creative take on clown is pretty cool. The other direction we can go is cute clown, but what do you know? Mime Jr. is as cute as can be. That little devil. So how about I make a trickster Pokemon that is fun and wild? The animal that is usually associated with being a clever trickster is the fox, but since we already have an illusion fox Pokemon, I was lucky that coyotes were actually infamous as trickster gods in Native American and Mesoamerican cultures. So I'm gonna take a coyote and combine it with a jester, or even a harlequin, and make my region's own equivalent to Zoroark the fox and Lucario the jackal. My supernatural canine is gonna be a traveling trickster that likes to perform. So I'm gonna make the face of a canine, pretty straightforward, setting the proportions and making it in the classic jester pose of, you know, one leg up, giving it fur that looks like a jester outfit and pointed feet. I originally wanted its hair to resemble a jester's hat, but decided it'll have long ears that mimic the hat of a jester instead. I won't add any patterns until I'm 100% sure on the body parts, gave it a tuft of fur on the end of its ears that mimic the little jingly-jinglies at the end of, the bells at the end of the hats of jesters, and now I'm making it clear that the outfit is just fur. Finalizing the arm shapes, then the leg and fur. Time for patterns. It's a harlequin, so it'll have a split color scheme, but most importantly, this Pokemon is based on the fear of clowns, so it needs clown makeup. Thankfully, the bottom half of a coyote's face is white, so it'll help the face look naturally segmented. I thought I should take the facial patterns from the Aztec coyote god of mischief. Now it has these swirls around its body to fit the theme, and its face paint patterns will look both ancient and clown-like. I'll reconfigure it a little later though. Here are the patterns with color, but the final face paint on the cheeks will look a little different in the final artwork. It's fire psychic, so the crimson and orange complement the blue and purple. And here he is, the jovial Pokemon, Clownine, from clown, canine, and the term Cloud9, considering this Pokemon is almost always happy and carefree. It is said that Cloud9 travel around the region, especially to places that desperately need cheering up, and performs stupefying acts of magic. It can conjure illusions from its fire. Those that it likes will see wonderment in the fires this Pokemon conjures, while those it dislikes will see terrifying illusions. It is known to have disdain for authority and often gets itself into trouble. It uses sparks and embers as distractions and attacks when fleeing authority. Children around the region love Cloud9. This Pokemon sees itself as a hero who uses humor to free his admirers from their depression. It is constantly on the move and very clever. That's right, this fire psychic Pokemon is in the same evolutionary family as Delphox, Zoroark, and a distant cousin of Lucario. This Pokemon is an amalgamation of both Mesoamerican and medieval Europe aesthetics, which is a good excuse to put it in the region I'm developing that is based on the Middle East. It has traveled from another region to my region, so it's not native, but also represents the amalgamation of multiple cultures, which is very fitting for a region that is the crossroads of multiple continents. Speaking of the intersection of multiple continents, I really want my next Pokemon to be based on xenophobia, the fear of people from other countries. Very apt in, well, I was gonna say modern times, but it's been like this throughout all of human history. So, the obvious thing to do here is make two separate Pokemon that are rivals. So I was thinking of options for very territorial animals, and I'm simply gonna just end up with cats. I think I'm gonna make two cat families. One family that is based on the common Western or European concepts of cats, like their association with the supernatural, witches, the night, black cats, being unlucky, etc. You know the whole gist. While the other one would be based on Asian cultural depictions of cats as being pure, lucky, pampered, and skilled. They're both rivals who hate each other, and their rivalry will consume them. But first I'm gonna make the pre-evos before explaining the concept of the evolved forms. First I'm gonna set up a few circles of the psychic cat, cause every cute mon is just a bunch of circles. Although it's a cat, I still want it to look like a vague animal, so I scrapped the cat ears and gave him that split tuft ear. It'll have messy fur cause it's relatively wild and independent. Its it's constantly on the lookout and isn't very energetic, so its expression is serious. Now I'm redoing the proportions and shapes so it's uniform and professional looking. I mean, it's basically a black cat, but one with celestial powers, so it'll have star patterns that'll end up as spots on its evolved form. Its whiskers are sparkling stars. How cool is that? If they were animated, they'd be twinkling. I placed one star spot on its throat to allude to the bells that cats have on their collars. Now it's the pampered and sly fairy cat's turn. I wanted it to be a fluffy white cat, and this is basically its personality. I decided that its ears should be the opposite of the other cat's ears and gave it a friendlier yet still smug expression. The dot on its head is there to allude to the coin that Maneki Nekos have, which is the inspiration for Meowth. This Pokemon is cute and all, but it knows it's cute and it flaunts it. I'm giving it split tails like the Nekomata of Japanese lore and more fur, finalizing the charm on its head and giving it patterns on its ears and eyelids to look both fashionable and as an element that'll be expanded upon in its evolution. Once I gave it color, I added more charms on its neck. The red on its paws is a reference to being caught red-handed, because this Pokemon gets into trouble, but gets itself out of trouble by using its cuteness. So here is the psychic cat, Filuna, from feline and Luna, and the fairy cat, Beneko, from the prefix bene, which indicates good, and neko, Japanese for cat. Filuna are most comfortable alone. They are very intelligent, but as a result, cautious and skeptical. They have the power to control fortune in their favor. It will rarely bond with humans, but when they do, Filuna will give their trainer the best of luck. Passing trainers who look at Filuna the wrong way will have bad luck for 13 days. The white cat, Beneko, is very social and manipulative. It constantly needs attention and will get it by using its cute face to its advantage. They are very egotistical and greedy, but as a result very dependent. It rewards those who pamper it with good fortune, but it will personally sabotage the lives of those it believes to be inferior by playing tricks. Now the two of these Pokemon will evolve by having both of them in your party and playing with them in Pokemon Camp, or at least my region's equivalent, Pokemon Oasis. They'll be consumed by their hatred for each other and become vile monsters. The point is that they won't be cute in their final stages and end up having the dark typing as well. But conceptually, they will be based on feline monsters from their respective continents. So the European black cat will become a panther from medieval bestiaries. A year ago I made a video where I created Pokemon from my visit to a medieval art museum and made a Pokemon that was partially based on the same creature, because in medieval times panthers were thought to be magical creatures that looked like this. Since art wasn't so good before the Renaissance, a lot of felines had human faces, and panthers in particular were super colorful, so Filuna's evolved form will be colorful and have human facial features, while Beneko's monstrous evolution will be based on the Nekomata that have two tails, and more specifically the Bakeneko, a transforming monster cat. Let's do this. I know I originally wanted this Pokemon to look monstrous and thought that I should maybe give it different colored lips like the medieval panthers, but now it looks like a Shisa. But those are Asian cat sculptures, and this Pokemon is fully European inspired, so I scrapped the entire thing. I made another attempt that looked too canine-like, and another one that looked more feline and had this mustache, and I thought, hey, it would make sense if the star whiskers became this mustache, which would help it look more human since the medieval panthers had human faces. This weird guy was the next step, but the pose was not right, and the expression was too sleazy. I gave it a tail that indicated it was agitated and ready to attack. I drew in these gilded scale-like patterns that medieval animal paintings have. I scrapped the entire pose and redid the face to look more feline. Now its face looks like a mix between a panther and a human. The hairs on its back are standing, like when cats need to look tough, and the pose is way more dynamic. I thought it would look more natural if it had leopard spots, but then I caved in and gave it those celestial patterns. I added the colors, but made the face more feline in the final design. And here we go! Filuna evolves into Filance, the Dark Psychic Slasher. This Pokemon is on a quest to rid the world of its rivals. Filance sees itself as an avenger and shining knight, when in reality they're very aggressive and merciless. It moves at night and uses its psychic fangs and psycho cuts to defeat its prey. It is very agile and defiant. It doesn't listen to those it doesn't respect and will attack without provocation. Filance has the ability Defiant and Rivalry, and the hidden ability Infiltrator. Its shiny is very Halloween appropriate, I'd say. Now I'm finally making the Eastern Cat. It's basically a Bakeneko, a monstrous, standing cat. Its face will be crazy, cause this thing is honestly crazy. It's fearless and loves danger. I'm giving it face patterns, scruff, and two tails, refining it a bit and finalizing the patterns. I know its colors are similar to Zangoose, but in the final design it'll be a little dirtier. It's not posh anymore. Beneko evolves into Baneko, from Bakeneko and Obake, a changing monster in Japanese, and the English word bad, and even the word bane. This dark fairy monster is very cruel, selfish, and deceiving. It loves toying with its enemies and picking fights. It pulls destructive pranks that have serious consequences, but Baneko doesn't care. It receives joy from any kind of attention, even bad. It relishes in the rivalry it has with Felance, and feels most alive when being chased by its enemies. Baneko has a type advantage over Felance, but Felance is faster and physically stronger. Its abilities are rivalry and competitive, with the hidden ability Prankster. I hope you enjoyed this installment, and let me know which phobia you want to see next. Make sure to like and subscribe so I know part 4 should be made. Check the description for the music I used, the t-shirts I made for you guys, and my Patreon where you can get cool rewards like seeing my videos days early. You can also get the rewards by clicking the join button to become a member. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram to see the final artwork of my Pokemon. And bye!